Thank you, Masi, for your always eloquent and inspiring remarks. But more than that, on behalf of the Wallenberg Center, UN Watch, Professor Kotler, and I know I speak for everybody in this room when we extend our appreciation for your leadership and our admiration for your courage and commitment in the face of evil. And Hillel analogized to Martin Luther King Jr., but I also think of the late, great Václav Havel, who was the Czech dissident who led the Velvet Revolution, the peaceful revolution that helped overthrow the largest, most powerful Soviet empire and created the democratic freedom in the Czech Republic that persists to today. And when he was asked about, what really was the anchor of this movement, he said that civil society was the truest fundamental of democracy. And when I look around this room today at the movement that you're really spearheading from abroad, at the words of Goli, and at all of you from the Iranian community, from civil society, from NGOs, from embassies, I think of those words of Václav Havel, and I know that what Ambassador Ray said about seeing a free democratic Iran soon will very much hold true. And I just want to echo and amplify some of the calls of the speakers that we heard today, especially with the diplomats in the room. There was a very clear and compelling call to action. When Goli said solidarity is great, and it's nice to have the solidarity in the room, but action is what we need. And we've heard in a resounding way, 8 years ago when Masi came to testify in the Canadian Parliament, said it's time to list the IRGC. Ambassador Ray, when he was leader of the Liberal Party, had called for the listing of the IRGC in Canada, actually. And that's something that, working together in common cause, we can clearly do, and something that I think the diplomats here today should be taking back home to capitals. And more than that, the sanctions, as Masi said, cutting hair is nice, but cutting ties, cutting the financial flows that empower this oppression. It is a travesty and a scandal that our economies, our democracies are actually contributing to this oppression by allowing illicit funds from Iran to be laundered in our financial systems. And it's time to not only freeze those assets, but to seize them and redistribute them. Canada was the first country to pass a new law that allows for sanctioned assets to, through due process and a court of law, to actually be given to the victims. So we think this would be a great test case. Canada should take some of these Iranian assets and give them to the women leading the protest movement. Don't just say the words of support, but, can't put money where the mouth is. And, United States, United Kingdom, European Union are looking at these laws. We think they should copy Canada, pass them, and then also use them to support these protests. And finally, there was, Goli mentioned the position of Ukraine to hold Iran accountable for its contributions to crimes in Iran, and Masi, as Masi so eloquently put it, talking about the need for accountability, that if there's no punishment for the crimes will continue. And it's time to be proactive and not reactive. We saw enough votes at the UN Commission of the Status of Women, led by Canada and the US, to remove Iran from the commission. That was important. But that was very reactive. I think a proactive mechanism can be marshalling those votes, building on the momentum to actually initiate an international case to hold Iran accountable for these crimes. There's an international court of justice. These countries should get the votes at the UN General Assembly or refer the case for apartheid, for the torture, for all these crimes against Iranian women and against all those innocent people in Iran fighting for freedom and democracy. Those are our shared values, and it's time for our countries not just to be reactive and this important work that was done at the CSW, but to take that step forward, take Iran before the International Court of Justice, support the prosecutor of the ICC and encourage them to move forward in holding Iran accountable for its crimes there, and to make sure that if there is an Iranian who is responsible for crimes that is finding safe harbor in your country, to prosecute them. Sweden did the right thing in universal jurisdiction, but it's time to continue that pace elsewhere. So want to thank you all again for being here, for your important work, and to continue to support Zen, Zandagi, and women, life, freedom, and much azadi.